could we have improved? Well, I think I can tell you where I was when the CNN feed came that it was 95% effective on the vaccine. So many of us wanted to be hopeful. So many of us wanted to say, okay, this is our ticket out, right? Now we're done. So I think we had perhaps too little caution and too much optimism for some good things that came our way. I really do. I think all of us wanted this to be done. Nobody said waning when oh, this vaccine's going to work. Oh, well, maybe it'll work. It'll wear off. Nobody said, well, what if the next variant doesn't? It's not as potent against the next variant.
I'm sorry. Maybe my earpiece isn't working. I need to get a new one or something like that. I would have swore the CDC director just said the vaccine they tried to force everyone to take, and in fact, many people lost their jobs, that they were just hopeful about it? Oh, that's following the science. Joining me now, my friend Brendon Morse, Deputy Managing Editor of RedState and also host of the new RedState Live. Brendon, no worries, buddy. The CDC director, she's hopeful.
Oh, good. I'm glad that our unrelenting optimism in this time is going to carry us through with the science. Good God. You know what really got me about that? Is I was sitting here watching, I was watching that clip right before you actually called me. And it says that when the CNN feed came, that it was 95% effective, the vaccine. So many of us wanted. Is she getting her ideas from CNN? Is she watching CNN and basing CDC guidance off of what they say? Is that what she's effectively admitting here? The same network that constantly finishes third in the cable news race, the same network that once asked if the missing Malaysian airliner fell into a black hole? That's CNN? Is that where we're getting our marching orders from? So many people lost their jobs. They couldn't attend funerals for their families. So many people's lives were upended. Depression everywhere. Suicides went up because the CDC was saying, hey, here are some guidelines, some things that we need to do in order to maintain our safety from COVID. They come in here and all of a sudden, they were trying to pass laws about everyone getting vaccinated. Businesses were threatening their employees that if they didn't get vaccinated, they would lose it. And they did lose their jobs. Many people's lives were upended because Rochelle Walensky was watching CNN, saw that it was 95% effective according to CNN reports, and decided to start issuing guidance based on that. What?
Brendon, you bring up a good point. I feel like this was, and I don't want to overstate it because everything feels so big in the moment, and then when you get after the fact, you look back and say, maybe I oversold that. I feel like COVID and this kind of distrust these institutions have sown in America, I feel like it was a real turning point in the country. I feel like there's a percentage, obviously not everyone, I feel like there's a percentage of this country who won't ever believe anything they hear anymore from these people.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. You are 100% correct on that. Scientific institutions have really taken a real big blow, and that's actually more damaging to society than a lot of people think. Now everyone's questioning any kind of research or, any kind of report that comes out of places like the CDC or, the NIHS and any kind of university report that comes out. Now we're sitting there going, okay, what is the political angle behind this? Who are these people that are issuing this report? Who is doing the research? Why should I believe it? This is going to throw us into a mass confusion. But this is what happens when you put politics first and you put science maybe. The science is not science, but they have been leading us by their political whims. These blue state leaders, the Democrat-controlled federal government has been leading us by politics first and science maybe. That's really what it's boiled down to. And how can we trust the science after this?
Okay, Brendon, so what's the average person to do if, like you pointed out in the very beginning, she's getting her info from CNN, the CDC director? Okay, I'm not a scientist, nor am I smart enough to be one. What's the average person supposed to do? I can't trust the FDA, I can't trust the CDC. Where am I supposed to get information then? I'm an idiot.
Right. Yeah, they're often wondering why we're going to people like the private journalists, why the private citizen journalists, people like Joe Rogan, who's out there having conversations with actual scientists who might not necessarily agree with the mainstream narrative, but have some very interesting info to say. They're watching The First. They're watching other networks like Fox News stuff. These people are going to these places where they are actually getting the whole entire story. So really what it boils down to is, where do they get their information from? All over the place now, and they have to piece it together for themselves. And to be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure if that's a bad thing. I think that people actually do need to have as much information available to them so that they can actually sort out what does and doesn't work. And despite the fact of what many Democrats think or the media thinks, I really don't think that Americans, by and large, are actually stupid. You have seen many of them from the very beginning, disproving claims made by the CDC, disproving claims made by Dr. Fauci. You had people like Rand Paul running him through the ringer and basically exposing the fact that he was out there trying to make politics before science. Constantly. So the answers are out there, and I really think that people going out and seeing it for themselves is a great thing, because if they're doing it for this, what else might they be doing that for in the future? The mainstream media and the leftist establishment here effectively shot themselves in the foot, because they're waking people up and making them more independent in terms of information gathering.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.